I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
I'm not worth your McDonald's money?
No.
Nation. Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? TGIF. It's Friday. Got a great show for you all today. Welcome to the stream. All right. So first thing first, I'm looking into the chat, and I just want to give a birthday shout out to Mithril, one of our YouTube viewers. Welcome to the show, and happy birthday. I don't know. My brain is short-circuiting currently. But yes, hopefully you are having an excellent birthday today. And to everybody else, like I said, we're going to have a fun show. Stick around for the next hour. All right. That said, yes, we're going to have, of course, Donald Trump, who is now, he's wounded. He's hurting. It's not good. And it will be fun for us to watch. We also have Pence, of course, talking about how, he was too honest to destroy democracy. We have the Twitter implosion, which is a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about that. We have Airbnbs not doing very well. We've got a theme today of rich people not doing so well. And then we do have some bad news on student loan forgiveness. It's a very, very important point, very important topic to talk about. So with that, let's do it. Just diving right in. We're just going to do it. We're just going to dive right in. And you know what?
We'll do it live! We'll do it live!
Okay, there we go.
Bitch, move it along.
Okay. All right. I'm moving it. God damn. Okay. Did I hear that Democrats want Liz Cheney to be Speaker of the House? It would be a horrible decision. Jesus Christ. Leave it to corporate Democrats to come up with some of the worst ideas. Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm telling you. But let's start with Trump. Former President Donald Trump continues to handle the disappointing midterm results with calm maturity. No, I'm just kidding. He completely lost it. On Thursday, Trump posted this on Truth Social. Ron came up to me. This is talking about Ron DeSantis here, specifically, who is now being floated as a top 2024 contender after he did very, very well in these midterm elections, while Trump's picks, of course, did terrible. Overwhelmingly bad. So, here's what he said. Ron came to me in a desperate shape in 2017. He was politically dead. Losing in a landslide. Ron had low approval, bad polls, no money, But he said that if I would endorse him, he would win. When I endorsed him, it was as though, to use a bad term, a nuclear weapon went off. I also fixed his campaign, which had completely fallen apart. DeSantis is an average Republican governor with great public relations, who didn't have to close up his state, but did, unlike Republican governors. The fake news asks him if he's going to run, if President Trump runs, weirdo referring him to himself in third person, and says, I'm only focused on the governor's race. I'm not looking into the future. Well, in terms of loyalty and class, that's really not the right answer. This is just like 2015 and 2016, a media assault, collusion. When Fox News fought me to the end until I won, then they couldn't have been nicer or more supportive. News Corp, which is Fox, the Wall Street Journal, and the no longer great New York Post, is all in for Governor Ron DeSanctimonious. Again, using that terrible nickname. Like, what are you doing? Who came up with that? Honestly, it's really bad. It is not a good nickname. I know.
I know words. I have the best words.
He has the best words, though. What are you talking about? All right. So, look, substantively, he does have a point where he is correct. And the fact that Fox News was definitely not for Donald Trump while he was running in the primary. But then later on, of course, like the rest of the Republican Party, turned around to kiss his ass after he won. So, look, here's the thing, though. I told you yesterday when this had happened after the disappointing midterms, Republicans are hyenas. They're ready to turn on you, on Trump specifically, and metaphorically shiv him in the back. And look, they've always been waiting for this opportunity. It's not like Donald Trump was well-liked among the Republican establishment. Look, the only win that he has actually done for, the Republicans and the donor class specifically is tax cuts for the rich, but then didn't do anything else. In fact, he completely bungled COVID. So you had all these people that are sitting there waiting, they're biding their time. And now Trump's hurt. There's blood in the water. And they're about to rip each other apart. There's a feeding frenzy. Oh boy. So now there's more. He didn't just attack Ron DeSantis, but he's also turning his guns on other Republicans that literally didn't have anything to do with anything that happened. In fact, here's what he said against Glenn Youngkin earlier today. Youngkin, now that's an interesting take. Sounds Chinese, doesn't it? Yes. Here's some casual, I guess, racism thrown in. In Virginia, couldn't have won without me. I endorsed him, did a very big Trump rally for him telephonically. Got MAGA to vote for him, or he couldn't have come close to winning. But he knows that and admits it. Besides having a hard time with the Dems in Virginia, but he'll get it done. So again, that's the Donald Trump way that he goes and attacks people. I made him, and now because I made him, remember Glenn Youngkin, what Daddy Trump did for you. You're having a hard time right now. Remember what I did for you. You should be here for me. You'll get it done, though. Only because I helped you. Wow, baby. Sad. It's really funny, though. Because, look, he's tearing the party apart. And I love it. I mean, we all love it. Look, he also, by the way, on True Social, talking about the, once again, disappointing midterm results, he says, I'm not angry. Oh, really? For those many people that are being fed the fake narrative from the corrupt media that I am angry about the midterms, don't believe it. I'm not at all angry. Did a great job. At what? I wasn't the one running, and am very busy looking into the future. Remember, I am a Stable genius. Yes, he literally said that. I'm a stable genius. Good God. I'm not angry, though. I'm not angry, and I'm very stable. That is something that, somebody who is obviously angry and not stable, yes, they would say something like that. I mean, come on, man. The copium, right? Cope and seethe. Cope and seethe. I'm not angry. I'm a very stable genius. He's losing his mind. Like, I remember on election night that the right wing was expecting a meltdown. Well, they got one. There's your meltdown. Right there. It's happening. Right before your eyes. But look, one more thing. There's two former senior White House officials who still advise Donald Trump. They talked to ABC News. And this is on Thursday night. And said that this is the weakest Donald Trump has been politically that they have seen him. His overreaction, one said, against DeSantis is making it even worse. Well, that's because he sees Ron DeSantis as a threat. Ron DeSantis had a pretty good night. Donald Trump, not so good. Another top aide added, quote, unhinged. Unhinged. This is not going to work for him. What did you expect? Honestly. Look, again, the whole situation is reminiscent of The Lion King, oddly enough, right? Donald Trump is basically like Scar, but dumber. And the establishment's Republicans, they're the hyenas. That's it. This is a fight now. It's on. Again, Donald Trump has already threatened to release some sort of dirt he alleges to have on Ron DeSantis. So, DeSantis, by the way, now he could respond to this. He has not responded to this. And he doesn't have to, because he's got Fox News, he's got Ben Shapiro, he's got Candace Owens, he's got all the Murdoch press, party leaders. He's got so many other people on his side. And so, again, you've got all these different outlets basically saying Trump's the future, or Trump's the past. We're going to move to the future. DeSantis is the future. That said, I'm not counting Donald Trump out. No. He still has a lot of the base. Trump supporters in Florida, for example, were asked, DeSantis or Trump in 2024. You know what they said? They said Trump all the way. So this is going to set up a very, very interesting fight. Trump is going to run. He's still going to make his announcement on the 15th, whatever that is. Again, we're assuming that is him saying, I'm going to run for office. I'm going to run for election for my third term, or for my third try at getting elected. So he's going to run. But then you also have DeSantis, who is also very, very likely going to run. And the reason that I say that is because there's so much pressure on him now. The entire Republican establishment is looking at Ron DeSantis going, run. You gotta run. You gotta run. And if he has any sort of presidential aspirations, which I know he does, he's going to run. He has to. He has to. If he doesn't, he'll be labeled and remembered the biggest coward in the Republican Party. He'll never get over it. He'll never get past that. He'll never have another chance. He has to run. And so here we have Ron DeSantis and pretty much the entire Republican establishment against Donald Trump and the base, and of course, whatever ass kissers and bootlickers Trump has left. And you know it's going to be dirty. They're going to all rip each other's faces off. It's going to be great. All right, let's move on. Another Trump-related story. Former President Donald Trump had told former Vice President Mike Pence during a meeting that he was just too honest to aid him in destroying democracy. This is, of course, after Pence had declined using the power that he actually doesn't have to stop the certification of the 2020 election. It's according to Pence's new book, which, again, Mike Pence is going to tell the most flattering side of this story that he can. And so in an excerpt published by the Wall Street Journal on Wednesday, it details how Trump was trying to convince Pence to use that non-existent authority to stall the certification of the 2020 election so that Trump's allies could put into place fake electors. Now, these fake electors in battleground states, obviously not the real electors, but would vote for Donald Trump specifically in order to get him over in the Electoral College. So now, describing a conversation on New Year's Day 2021, Pence writes that he and Trump had discussed a lawsuit filed by Republicans. It's the Louis Gohmert lawsuit, right? Louis Gohmert. Asking a judge to declare that the vice president had, quote, exclusive authority and sole discretion to decide which electoral votes should count. So basically what he wanted Pence to do is to go through and, do this certification count and then get to certain states, battleground states, and say, okay, we've heard reports of voter fraud, and so we're just going to set these aside. We're going to set this aside. We're going to let this, we're going to come back to that later, okay? And then he's going to say, well, you know what? It turns out that these electors, they don't really count. So you know what? We're going to let the state legislators get more electors, certain electors, and those electors would just so happen to gavel in Trump. Or, of course, there are other things that they suggested, other plans, like it going to, Republicans for them to vote on, which, of course, they assumed would vote to keep President Trump into office or in office. And so that was all part of the Eastman plan. Okay, so that's John Eastman, who's one of Trump's lawyers. So now, during this meeting on New Year's Day, Pence said that Trump told him that if the suit gives him the power, why would you oppose it? Now, that's Trump 101. You idiot, if somebody gives you the power, why don't you just use it? I mean, what are you, a dummy? Are you a dum-dum? Are you stupid? Somebody hands you power, you take it. I don't care about democracy. I don't care. No, I'm going to take the power. Again, he's a fascist. Now, Pence told him, he says, as I had many times, that I didn't believe I possessed that power under the Constitution. Now, that's true. Again, he doesn't have that authority. No vice presidents had that authority. Joe Biden did not have that authority when he was vice president in 2016. And if it were true that, the establishment, the deep state, everybody wants to stop Donald Trump, well, then they couldn't they have just used that authority in 2016 to stop Trump from winning the election or certifying the election and then just putting in Hillary Clinton? It's a ridiculous idea. That's not how it works. By the way, they would also be admitting that Kamala Harris now also has that power. Again, she does not. So, Trump responded with this, and this is, again, interesting. Quote, you're too honest. Hundreds of thousands are going to hate your guts. People are going to think you're stupid. Well, I mean, did that turn out to be somewhat true? Yeah. People do really hate Mike Pence's guts. And I'm not just saying from the left. No, MAGA chuds. They despise Mike Pence now. Again, they literally were chanting, hang Mike Pence on January 6th. Not hang my pants. No, hang Mike Pence. They were furious with him. And so, but again, getting back to Trump, If you get the power, why wouldn't you use it? It's exactly what he would do. He knew he didn't win. That's an admission, by the way, that he doesn't care about democracy and that he knows that he didn't win the election. And again, didn't care, didn't give a damn, and perfectly fine with letting his supporters threaten to murder the vice president because the vice president did not do the theft that he wanted him to do. So, now Pence also wrote about a call with Trump on the morning of January 6th, which was not so cordial, which Trump has widely been described as calling the vice president a quote-unquote pussy. Pence writes, "The president laid into me. You'll go down as a wimp. If you don't block certification, I made a big mistake 5 years ago." Again, total meltdown from a fascist baby. That fit nearly got Pence killed by a mob. Now, that said, Mike Pence is a coward. And so, look, he never testified to the January 6th committee. And of course, there will no longer be a January 6th committee. I mean, regardless of whether or not Democrats retain the House, the original committee is sunsetting anyway. So if Republicans do end up taking the House, well, that committee is never coming back. So, but that said, he never testified to the committee. And it's because he still wants to walk a line. He wants power. Mike Pence wants to run. Now, look, he's trying to thread the needle with Trump voters and to get the side of the establishment of Democrats, of course, that are not in favor of Trump. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work. As I said before, Trump voters, Mike Pence, they hate you. They hate your guts. Trump's right about that. They do. Nobody cares about Mike Pence. The left hates Mike Pence. The right wing hates Mike Pence. Everybody hates Mike Pence. Look, they're desperately trying to push Trump overboard. The establishment is. But they want DeSantis. They do not want Mike Pence. He's got no chance whatsoever of winning in a Republican primary. He's done. His political career is over. He's never going to be president, no matter how much he wants. And you know what I say? Good. All right, let's make fun of Twitter. Will Twitter outlast a head of lettuce? See? Let us find out. Womp womp. Okay. All right. Under the stewardship of Elon Musk, Twitter continues to explode faster than a Tesla battery. Just as everybody expected, as soon as Musk opened up the verification to anyone willing to pay him $8. Imposter accounts flooded the platform. And no one was safe. No one. Like politicians, sports figures, brands, even the Pope. Even the Pope ain't safe. In fact, I'm going to show you some of the fantastic accounts and tweets. These are great. Ted Cruz. First time. I can't even read that. I would laugh. The Rudy Giuliani one is pretty good too. I stand with Kyrie Irving and Kanye West because George Soros once pushed me down the street and I was stuck on my back like a turtle for several minutes. Oh my God.
I have not loved this conversation.
So good. There's more. There's more fun ones. All right. Another Ben Shapiro. And then, of course, George W. Bush. Even more. Chiquita. Getting into the brands. Chiquita, we just overthrown the government of Brazil. And then, of course, APAC. That's a good one. That's a good one. We hard apartheid. All right. More. Nestle We steal your water and sell it back to you. True. Very true. Wow, all these brands suddenly being very, very honest. Weird. Weird. More. Lockheed Martin will begin halting all weapons sales to Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States until further investigation into the records of human rights abuse. Oh, that's good. Blue Cross Blue Shield, very, very interesting. Profits. Insurance carriers make money by not delivering access to medical care, but employers are willingly signing contracts, paying us to do this. As long as employers pay, our profits will continue to grow. So true. So true. Got another. Hey, we got Tesla. Tesla in here. Honestly, the 53% drop in stock price doesn't faze us. If there's anyone who knows about crashing, it's us. All right. But look, there's more. Okay. But let me just say, Elon Musk was right about one thing. Comedy did return to Twitter. At least for a short time until he tried to ban it. But look, my favorite, aside from Giuliani falling in his back-legged turtle, because that's just funny, was actually another, well, brand-related. Okay, I think you're going to enjoy this one when I put it up on the screen. Eli Lilly. Hey, look at that. We are excited to announce insulin is free now. But then the other Eli Lilly, I'm not sure which one's verified. I mean, for all I know, that bottom one is the imposter. We apologize to those that have been served a misleading message from a fake Lilly account. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because that says Eli Lilly & Co. I mean, that's literally the name of the company. Why would you do a fake account like at LilyPad? Fake news. What's even better is this. That's Eli Lilly's stock after that tweet came out. Gee, I don't understand how this could have happened. Weird. Or maybe it's them coming out and saying, oh, just kidding. We're definitely not making insulin free. I mean, come on now. That obviously is fake. We don't do anything for free. Gee, I wonder if all these fake accounts are having some sort of an impact on business. You know, all these imposters. If only we had some sort of verification system for brands. Weird. Like a real verification system. Embarrassing. But again, this is why brands are running away from Twitter. You need verification so that you know that people and brands, politicians, are who they say they are. And so that you can't have verified accounts just pop up out of nowhere claiming to be the Pope. Now, that said, on Friday, Musk halted Twitter Blue. An email sent to Twitter's press address, however, went unanswered, asking why. But that's, of course, probably because the company's communications department was gutted by Elon Musk's recent layoffs, along with most of its, workforce. Turns out you need employees, too, to run these things. Weird. Now, in fact, on Wednesday, a lot of its workforce, its top, staff, quit. Top privacy, security, and safety executives at Twitter, gone. The departure of Chief of Information Security Officer Leah Kisner, Chief Privacy Officer Damian Curran, Chief Compliance Officer Marion Fogarty were first reported by Casey Newman and Zoe Schiffer for the tech blog Platformer on Thursday morning. Hours later, Platformer reported the exit of Yuval Roth, the company's moderation and safety leader. head of client solutions, Robin Wheeler, also gone. Now, right-wingers, of course, wanted to get rid of Roth, so they're probably cheering. And I'm going to get to why they're cheering in minutes. But let's just say that all of these people, the top talent leaving, not going to help advertisers. In fact, a lot of advertisers have already put their ads on hold as a result of this absolute utter chaos. But as I said, it gets worse because it always gets worse. In fact, on Friday, Gizmodo reported that Twitter started giving out check marks, not just to, anyone, because again, Twitter Blue has been halted for now, but they're still giving out check marks to the worst people imaginable. They reported that Musk has granted a check mark to literal neo-Nazi Richard Spencer, as well as 2 anti-transgender hate accounts, one Libs of TikTok, who famously, of course, has directed bomb threats towards children's hospitals, and Gays Against Groomers. So, they get check marks. They should be, and again, a lot of these accounts had been suspended before for hate speech. Now, under Musk, they get a check mark. Look at that. And of course, check marks now work differently than they before. Their tweets get elevated. And I'll explain that because I've got a quote from Musk about what the check mark is now going to do. But let me just add, I wonder if Musk's transphobia has anything to do with his daughter coming out, literally as transgender, and saying, I don't want anything to do with this guy. And maybe also might have something to do with his wife leaving and dating a transgender woman. So I would say massive, massive trade up. But there's more. Also verified is now Jason Kessler, the white supremacist who organized the neo-Nazi Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. The one where people, apparently good people on both sides, again, one of the sides was against, police brutality and against racism. The other side was chanting Jews will not replace us. But they're both good people on both sides. And apparently Kessler gets a check mark. Media Matters also noted in a report late on Thursday that several QAnon promoters had likewise obtained their own verification badges, including Nicholas Bieneman, host of a QAnon program that was banned by YouTube last year. So that's great. Wow, look at the greatest people, the best people. Now, we all know, for one of the reasons that Musk giving out these check marks is because he agrees with them. But secondly, it's money. Look, Elon Musk is hurting. He massively overpaid for Twitter, tens of billions of dollars. There's no way on earth Twitter is worth $44 billion. Their total revenue is somewhere around $700 million a year. That's not profit, that's revenue. You know how much Elon Musk's interest payments are? Nearly $1 billion. Just in the interest payments for his purchase of Twitter. Now, look, he was able to transfer about $13 billion of debt onto the company and is now warning employees, whoever's left, that bankruptcy is not out of the question. Twitter is going down. It's done. And adding to what is going to drive more people off the platform is this plan to elevate these purchase badges. As I said before, people who've got the check mark are going to be featured because they gave Elon $8. He actually said accounts with badges on Wednesday will eventually attain greater visibility in the platform, and then compared tweets from users without them to emails ending up in a quote-unquote spam folder. So if you don't give Elon $8, your tweets are not going to get seen by anybody. He says, well, that's democratization of the platform. I've democratized Twitter by elevating people who give me money. That's, you know what? That's actually exactly how rich people see democracy in America, because that's exactly what what happens. Rich people give politicians money and campaign donations, and oh look, they get heard over the needs of the average American worker. Huh. So actually, that's literally his definition of democratizing. Of course, people who give money are always going to get elevated above people who don't give money. Well, that's just how it works. See, I give money to all these politicians. First, Democrat, Republican, and Republican politicians. I give them money. They do what I say. They give me tax cuts. They give me, they give me money. I give them preferential treatment. That's how it works. That's how it works. So there you go. So what's funny though is obviously the side effect of this so-called democratization, right? Because he's raising up literal Nazi accounts, Nazis, while discarding people who don't want to give him money. You know, regular people, the people that actually, since 70% of Twitter's revenue specifically from advertising. Well, that advertising is not going to be there, and there's not going to be enough people who are willing to give Elon Musk $8 to use this platform that we've all been using for free. Oh, but you could still use Twitter for free. You're not going to get seen. Your tweets are going to go into the equivalent of a spam folder. So what's the goddamn point? So congratulations. This is literally how you single-handedly destroy not only your own company that you bought for too much, but also basically your entire brand. Nobody's going to look at Elon Musk anymore as someone who is intelligent. And to make it even better, though, he's lost about $100 billion in net worth. I love it when billionaires start to unbillionaire themselves. Anyone who claims, by the way, that rich people deserve their money because they're smarter than you is a moron. You have fallen for the propaganda. I mean, again, Zuckerberg, give you some other examples, not just Elon Musk. Mark Zuckerberg has lost billions of dollars in the metaverse. They're cutting jobs. Amazon, they're also cutting jobs because they've lost $1 trillion in market share over the past couple of days. It's an implosion that's going on here. Billionaires are unbillionairing themselves. And of course, I'm here for it. Now, the only issue is, of course, it's the employees that are going to end up suffering the most as a result of these dipshits that are running around with too much money and too much power. If only we could, tax those people and then redistribute their wealth to the workers. Oh, I forgot. That'd be socialism. And obviously, we can't have that. Yeah, Meta fired 11,000 people. Thank you, Metaverse, that nobody wants to run around in or do anything in. Because you know what? Doing things in the real world sucks enough. Why would you want to bring the real world into a fake world? Doesn't make any sense. All right. Let's move on. It appears that millions of Airbnbs owned by wealthy investors, millions. It appears that Airbnbs owned by wealthy investors are now sitting empty as the Airbnb boom kind of goes bust. According to market analysts, many U.S. based Airbnbs are now sitting empty because wealthier people and investors listed a lot of these short-term rentals in an attempt to capitalize on the pandemic-fueled travel influx. So now, that influx is not there anymore. Demand is way, way down. And so you have all of these Airbnbs, these houses that are just sitting empty. Great. So now short-term rentals is according to data by AirDNA. These listings increased significantly to 1.38 million in September. These are open listings, which is a 23.2% year-over-year increase. The surge in supply is due in part to a 235% increase in luxury second home and investment property sales from April to June of this year compared to pre-pandemic levels. You have all of these basically wealthy investors that are snapping up homes and turning them into Airbnbs. These homes, reported by Time, serve as seasonal or recreational use properties, making them prime for Airbnb when their owners are not using them. So again, a little bit of a recap. Rich people bought up a bunch of houses and these corporations during the pandemic, turned them into short-term rentals, and now there's so many short-term rentals and not enough demand that they're actually sitting empty and losing money. Oops. Now, let me also note that this is at a time where homelessness is up all across the country. You also have higher interest rates from the Fed, Jerome Powell, jacking up the interest rates so that you're not going to be able to get a mortgage. You're going to have insane rates, even if the bank is even willing to lend to you. But even if you could get those loans, you still have housing prices that are overinflated, especially in the cities. And they have a lack of supply because all these rich people and corporate landlords have bought up the supplies that are now empty. Weird how that works out. Now, according to CNBC, as lockdowns came to an end, pent-up travel demand led to a spike in these short-term rental bookings, in which the lucrative market attracted former long-term landlords to shift towards shorter stays, while institutional investors started scooping up large quantities of properties to rent out on Airbnb and other platforms. 2021, they said, was a bumper year for short-term rentals in the U.S., says Jamie Lane, AirDNA Vice President of Research. Over the past few months, supply has increased to catch up to and even overtake demand growth, pushing occupancy down as bookings are spread across more properties. How much did they fall? Well, occupancy rates fell in 31 of the top 50 largest U.S. short-term rental markets from July through September, according to AirDNA. And in August, they reported that markets where supply had grown by more than 50% had an average occupancy rate decline of over 10% and saw revenues drop by 8%. Properties that are markets with the greatest supply growth are seeing the biggest declines in performance. Yes, it turns out that when you have more supply, this is obvious, you're going to have less demand. People are going to, go and stay at other places, maybe not your crappy B&B. And I say crappy Airbnbs because, look, there are horror stories. You have hosts at these B&Bs basically making you do all the chores. You're paying to stay there, and then they're like, oh, by the way, you got to do the dishes, you got to do the laundry, you got to do the vacuuming. We're going to charge you to, we're going to make you strip the beds and clean all that. And then on top of that, we are also going to charge you a cleaning fee for all the cleaning that you did. Wait, what? That's ridiculous. No, how about F off? But again, the reason that they got away with it is because you had an increased demand. But now that there's more supply, and that means that they can't get away with this anymore. And also means prices are going to go down. So that's going to end up being a bad investment for a lot of these companies that were cashing in on these Airbnbs that are now going to be empty. And again, going back to the fact that we have all these empty short-term rentals and all these homeless people that are unhoused, that or they cannot afford a house, or they cannot afford to rent a long-term because there are people that want long-term. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people that can't benefit from short-term rentals as well. Yes, you do see that. But we have a major, major issue with them just not having enough homes, not having enough places to live because of all this corporate ownership of these homes. Again, they bought up all these homes for very cheap, or not very cheap. Sorry, they bought up these homes above market, prices, sometimes with cash, and that left a lot of families unable to make these home purchases. And again, single-family homes. This is what we're talking about. You have all these families that now cannot get these single-family homes that build equity. Instead, they're being used by not only corporate outlets, right? But also you have foreign investors that have come in and have bought up these homes. And look, I'm not going to discount the fact that there could be money laundering going on as well, because real estate often happens to be a very lucrative way to hide your money, to stash your money. And so what we have is an absolute mess in the housing market as a result of this. Not just the B&Bs. B&Bs are they're a symptom of it. Okay. And now, of course, these investors losing their shirt over these B&Bs, or will eventually lose their shirt over these B&Bs, is just, again, one of the side effects, but one that I actually don't mind. Because I don't mind it when rich people lose these money, lose these investments and lose this money. Because Airbnb, it's already a racket to begin with. So hopefully this will reduce the amount of these Airbnbs, and maybe these corporate entities will start actually getting rid of these homes and making them available for families again. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay. We paid $400 for Friday to Sunday a few years back. 2 years later, $850 for the same. We scrubbed the place and we're given 4 stars. Wouldn't do that again. Yeah, that is quite ridiculous. I would rather stay at a hotel. Okay. That said, let's get some disastrous stories, or one disastrous story, about student loan forgiveness. You know where this is going. All right. A Trump-appointed Texas judge has struck down President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, meaning that unless something is done, in January, 46 million people will begin having to pay the entirety of their loans with no forgiveness. So they'll have to restart their payments. Now, U.S. District Judge Mark T. Pittman on Thursday declared Biden's policy of forgiving debt under the 2003 HEROES Act to be unlawful. The DOJ is saying that the act grants the Secretary of Education, and not just the DOJ, but the law as well, it grants the Secretary of Education authority to reduce or eliminate the obligation to repay the principal balance of federal student loans, including on a class-wide basis. Now, you can do that under several different, ways. One of them is under an emergency, which COVID was. So in a national emergency, the Secretary of Education can say, okay, you don't have to pay your loans. So that said, in this ruling brought by a conservative group, in a lawsuit brought by a conservative group called the Job Creators Network, of course, in this country, we are not ruled by an all-powerful executive with a pen and a phone, Pittman wrote in his order. Instead, we are ruled by a constitution that provides for 3 distinct and independent branches of government. The Job Creators Network Foundation had filed this lawsuit back in October on behalf of a borrower that does not qualify for the full $20,000 in debt relief, and one who is completely ineligible. I will give you their stories and why what they're doing is absolute yes. But first, the suit alleges that the administration had violated federal procedure by denying borrowers the opportunity to provide a public comment before unveiling the program. In the Texas case, the plaintiffs argued in part as well, the Biden administration made arbitrary decisions about who would qualify for debt forgiveness and how much of their balance would be canceled. Biden's loan relief plan cancels up to $10,000 for borrowers who earn up to $125,000 annually, or up to $250,000 for married couples. Borrowers who receive Pell Grants are eligible for an additional $10,000. One of the plaintiffs, Alexander Taylor, falls under the income threshold and is eligible to have $10,000. However, he did not have a Pell Grant and therefore not eligible for the additional $10,000. And so he's saying, well, if I don't get the extra $10,000, then nobody gets it. Oh, great. Wonderful. Now, the other one, Myra Brown, she is ineligible for Biden's plan because her federal loans had actually originated through the defunct Federal Family Education Loan Program, which is held by private banks, private entities. And until late September, commercial FFEL borrowers like Brown could consolidate their loans, but she decided not to do so, into a direct loan that could become eligible under Biden's plan. However, as a result of 6 Republican states that have sued, the Education Department had to reverse the policy. Oh, so again, I didn't get this. Therefore, no one shall get it. Well, I've got a solution for that. You just cancel all student loans. That's what I was saying from the beginning. Yes. Why not just make it universal? Well, look, this is, again, while in favor of all cancellation, when you do something universal, it takes away these arguments. Simple as that. And by the way, this is also applicable to all means-tested programs. Look, Social Security and Medicare, they're not means-tested, all right? And guess what? They're the most popular programs in the country. Makes it very, very difficult for Republicans to get rid of it. Once you're 65, you get it. Now, that said, I think Republicans haven't tried to cut it. Ron Johnson literally is going to try to cut it. But it's harder to do because it's a universal program. Republicans love Social Security and Medicare. And if you actually tell them, hey, this politician's going to cut your Medicare and Social Security, then obviously they're going to vote to protect it, to actually protect it. But that said, before I get to the administration's response to this, because they have responded, I want to go to a report in The Intercept by Ken Klippenstein. So, and this is about the people that have filed the suit, as well as the judge's political connections, and why maybe he shouldn't be presiding over this case. Now, Klippenstein writes that Myra Brown, well, she's not happy that she didn't get her private loan discharged through this, because that program, of course, never promised to discharge that private loans. He writes this: Brown, one of 2 plaintiffs in the Texas lawsuit, owns Desert Star Enterprises, Inc. Desert Star, which appears to be a sign-making business, was granted a $48,000 loan, of which $47,996 was forgiven on April 27, 2022. So, wait, again, she's mad that she didn't get her loans forgiven for student loans, the $20,000, but she actually ended up getting $47,996 forgiven when it comes to paycheck protection. Huh. Interesting. Now, The Intercept contacted Brown for comment. She responded via text message with a picture of a printout reading, "We have no comment," and directed any inquiries to the Job Creators Network, a conservative advocacy organization bankrolling the lawsuit. The Job Creators Network, by the way, founded by the CEO of Home Depot and funded by the conservative Mercer Family Foundation. Elaine Parker, president of the Job Creators Network, also talked to The Intercept, saying the Paycheck Protection Program is not comparable to Biden's bailout. Congress passed PPP, making it a federal program. Biden bypassed Congress, making it illegal. PPP was an emergency measure to help small businesses survive government-imposed lockdowns. PPP was always designed to be forgiven if certain parameters were met. Except there was no enforcement of those parameters. I've got examples here. You had corporations that were given PPP loans that still fired workers and pocketed the money. According to a study published by top economists at the National Bureau of Economic Research, they found that the distribution, of the $800 billion of PPP money, less than 35% went to workers. The rest of the money, a full 2/3 to 3/4 at most, went into the pockets of either the company's owners or the shareholders. They also found that the distribution was highly regressive because it overwhelmingly accrued to high-income households. According to their paper, 72% of the funds from Paycheck Protection flowed to the top 1/5 of all households by income, even though, statistically speaking, nationwide, this group accounts for just 35% of earnings. So now this is interesting. So most of the money from Paycheck Protection didn't go to the workers, it went to the rich. What is the argument that conservatives are using against student loan forgiveness? Oh, right. That it's most of the money is going to benefit the rich. Do you remember that argument? I do. And by the way, corporate Democrats were also using that argument against Biden's plan. Was it not Tim Ryan that said that was mad that this student loan relief would supposedly go to well-off college graduates? Interesting. Again, it doesn't. The debt relief actually goes to a lot of middle-class families and mainly Black borrowers. That's where the relief is going. It's almost like this entire thing is backwards. And they just hate poor people. But there's more. Klivenstein's report also noted that the Job Creators Network, one of their top funders, is a Federalist Society. Now, the Job Creators Network, there's a chain of, shady organizations, right? Think tanks. And so the CRC, which again funds the Job Creators Network, is funded by the Federalist Society. The federal judge presiding over the case is himself vice president and a founding member of what? The Tarrant County Federalist Society. Oops. Pittman is also one of 200 Trump-appointed federal judges, a group that includes nearly as many appeals court judges as Barack Obama appointed in both of his terms. This is why control of the Senate matters. This is why we elect progressive Democrats. Because remember, a lot of Senate Democrats also approved of Donald Trump's judicial picks. Getting Democrats elected is good, but they need to be actual progressives, not corporate Democrats. So let's go to Biden's response, by the way. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said this: "We strongly disagree with the district court's ruling on our student debt relief program, and the Department of Justice has filed an appeal. More than 26 million people have applied for loan relief, and the administration will hold on to this information so it can quickly process the relief once we prevail in court. The Education Department, however, is no longer accepting new applications in light of the ruling, but has encouraged borrowers to sign up for updates at .gov. In a court filing responding to the complaint, the Justice Department argues that the 2003 statute underpinning Biden's plan doesn't require notice or comment. Justice attorneys also argued that the parameters of the program were informed by research that shows the risk of delinquency and default is acute among lower-income borrowers and Pell recipients. They said Brown and Taylor were not entitled to any amount of loan forgiveness and that their grievances do not amount to concrete injury. Because, again, you have to have standing. And that's been the problem with a lot of the right-wing lawsuits. They just lack standing. But Pittman knew that already. Pittman was prepared for this. He actually told the parties that he had planned ahead of time to rule on the merits of the case instead of determining whether these borrowers had standing to bring the lawsuit. Well, there you go. Now, getting to the other Republican argument about this being unconstitutional, illegal power grab by the executive branch. Now, the HEROES Act in 2003 was passed by Congress. Congress passed it, and that explicitly authorizes in the text that the Secretary of Education is allowed to alleviate the hardship that federal student loan recipients may result as a result of national emergencies. COVID was a national emergency. Therefore, he absolutely had the authority in order to do this. The whole case that they're bringing is bullshit. Neither of these plaintiffs had any standing at all. At all. So it's very obvious what Pittman is trying to do. That's it. Again, there is no good legal argument here. These people are not harmed by other people getting student debt relief that they didn't qualify for. And basically are using or are trying to screw everyone over with the help of these conservative groups in order to deny any win or, I don't really care about, if Biden gets a win, whatever. That's what they care about. But really, they're denying a win for so many student borrowers. Millions of people that are affected by this. It's complete and utter bullshit from an obviously corrupt federal judge. All right. The Boston's education sector is blocking people from receiving court-mandated relief from scams. Exactly. They don't care. They don't care. They just want poor people to suffer. That's really it. Can we check how much these two were paid by the backers? I wish we could. And maybe some of that information might come out. Hey, you know what? Kenneth Lippenstein doing the Lord's work. All right. So, anyway, that's all I got for y'all. Oh, one more comment that I want. And it's about the Paycheck Protection Program, because I'm not actually against programs like that. They just have to have rules, and there has to be enforcement of those rules. That's all we ask. And look, Char Erling in Facebook says, the company I work for got paycheck protection loans. We got raises and upgraded equipment. Wonderful. That's the whole point, right? Not only saving jobs, but also making sure that the employees that are there get those raises and basically invest back into the company. That's what we think federal money for businesses should be for. Helping your employees, paying them a better wage, upgrading their equipment, making sure that, they make an investment in those companies. That's fine. But what we seen from a lot of these bigger companies, like, for example, the airlines, billions of dollars, they fired lots of people and then bought back their own stock. But yes, it is important to point out how, there were good companies there, small businesses, medium-sized businesses that didn't do fraud, that did, that took advantage of these loans to do, right by their employees. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the majority of what happened. So, all right. Marjorie Taylor Greene got a bit of loan as well. Yeah, well, of course she did. If she didn't, I mean...
And why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated.
Yeah, that's what she talk about herself right there. Yes, flagrantly. You violated my fragrant right for free money. How dare you?
Peachtree dish.
Okay. Anyway, yes, PPP was made with good intentions, but there will always be people for everyone else. And again, the good intentions, great, but you actually have to have rules. You have to have, parameters. Funny word, but and then you also, like I said, have to enforce those rules on big corp. All right. Anyway, let's read some super chats before we head out for the weekend. LWell says, I'm enjoying Republican infighting and Twitter imploding. Agreed. Thank you, LWell, for the very kind $10. Dango Bango, thank you for being a member for 27 months, says, Rip Kevin Conroy, Batman, and Gallagher. Yep, man. Morning. Also says, Zuck, Musk, and Bezos single-handedly raising the eyebrow at Biden more than oil companies could ever do, and actually getting Biden to float possible investigations into them is all peak karma. Yeah, I also didn't mention that. Biden's like, there's something fishy going on with this Musk deal. We might want to look into it. There, thank you, by the way, for the very kind $10. Straw Carpenter also $10 says, good show. Chris Green asks, any news about changing the streaming hour? No, not yet. Not yet. I haven't made a decision. So, Christopher Concrete says on YouTube, I paid $11,000 on my loans, still owe almost what I borrowed. They need to fix that, then it to be okay that the loans are broke. So yeah, that's that's the other thing about it. The interest on these loans, how could it be anything other than predatory? It is predatory. I mean, you're first of all, they're getting teenagers to take out these loans with massive interest rates in order to go to school, and there's so much pressure into it, to get people to go into these schools. All right. Dango Bango with the $2 says, watch Mask of the Phantasm. I do not have time. I do not have time. But thank you for the suggestion. Maybe one of these days I'll get to it, but very, very, at least in the short term, maybe even the long. I don't know. All right. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you all. Make sure to like and share the stream. Also, if you missed any of the segments, watch those. I'll have them up on YouTube or Facebook as well. So that said, everybody have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back here Monday, as usual, same time, same place. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. Have a great weekend.
Oh no! I will eat your ass!
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not worth your McDonald's money.
Don't do it. I tell you, don't do it.
Civilians in Venezuela.
Disappointed!
Obama.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
We will keep kicking your ass every